What do you do when the truth becomes too painful to watch? When the courtroom is no longer a place of justice, but a stage for personal collapse? It was supposed to be just another day in the Diddy trial, until his own son snapped. Right there, in front of the judge, the jury, and a room full of cameras, he exploded in a way no one could have predicted. But what exactly was on that video the court played, and what pushed him over the edge? This wasn't just about family drama. This was something darker, something deeper, a moment that may have shattered more than just courtroom silence. And trust me, what happened next left even the judge in disbelief. To the world, he's just Diddy's son. But behind the last name, there's a young man who's been raised in the shadow of wealth, fame, and controversy. His name is Christian Combs, born into a lifestyle most could only dream of. Private jets, red carpets, celebrity parties before he could even drive. But with that spotlight came something else: pressure, expectations, and whispers that not everything inside the Combs empire was as glamorous as it looked on Instagram. Christian has tried to carve his own path, dabbling in music, modeling, and riding on his father's legacy. But make no mistake, being a Combs means being constantly watched, judged, and compared. And lately, that pressure cooker has been heating up. Because when your father's name is being dragged through the darkest corners of the internet, and you're sitting in court hearing every detail, you don't just listen, you live it. The air was thick, silent, every eye in the courtroom locked on the screen as the prosecution played a video that, according to sources, had never been shown publicly before. It wasn't some grainy surveillance clip. No, this was high quality, up close, and deeply personal. Footage that featured Christian Combs and his father in what appeared to be one of those infamous parties the media has only whispered about for years. At first, Christian sat still, focused. But as the footage rolled, his posture changed. He leaned forward, his jaw tightened. Whatever was being shown, whatever he saw, it wasn't just shocking, it was humiliating. One witness later described his expression as shattered. And then, it happened. The footage reached a point, one we still don't have full confirmation on, and Christian stood up. Not calmly, not with dignity, but with rage. He didn't shout. He charged straight toward the judge's bench. So, what was it? What did Christian Combs see that made him lose control in a federal courtroom? Sources close to the case claim the video showed more than just a party. It exposed behavior, his and Diddy's, that was intimate, chaotic, and deeply compromising. There were flashes of things the public wasn't supposed to see. Moments that, if true, could flip the entire narrative surrounding Diddy's empire. But it wasn't just the visuals. It was the way the courtroom reacted. Gasps, whispers. Even a few jurors looked visibly shaken. And then came the laughter from the prosecution side. Just a chuckle, maybe two, but enough to light the match. Christian's body tensed. He muttered something under his breath, eyes locked on the judge. The next second, he was up, knocking over his chair, storming forward, and shouting something no one could clearly make out. Some say he screamed, "That's a lie!" Others say he simply cried out, "You weren't supposed to show that!" Either way, the damage was done. The courtroom wasn't just witnessing a breakdown, they were watching a son implode in real time, on behalf of a father who just sat there, frozen. The moment Christian lunged forward, everything unraveled. Security moved fast, but not fast enough. Papers flew. One of the court clerks screamed. The judge instinctively leaned back as Christian slammed his fists on the bench, eyes wide, breathing heavy, completely unrecognizable from the calm public persona he once projected. It was raw, unfiltered, and terrifying. Two officers tackled him to the ground, struggling to restrain him as he thrashed and yelled. The courtroom audience, journalists, observers, even members of the legal team scrambled out of their seats. Some ducked, others pulled out their phones, only to be ordered to put them away as bailiffs rushed to block cameras. And Diddy? He didn't move. Not an inch. Just sat there, blank-faced. No attempt to stop his son, no cry, no reaction, nothing. Almost like he'd expected it. The judge called for a recess immediately, voice shaking with a mix of authority and disbelief. But the damage had already taken root. What had started as another day in court had turned into a viral, unforgettable collapse, one that would dominate headlines before anyone even left the building. Courtroom outbursts aren't new, but this one hit different. Over the years, there have been plenty of dramatic breakdowns in high-profile trials. Rappers, actors, athletes, many have lost their cool in front of the gavel. Some yelled, some wept. A few even had to be dragged out screaming. But what happened with Christian Combs struck a deeper nerve. Because it wasn't just about him. It was about the weight of a name. This wasn't a rebellious teen lashing out. This was the son of a music mogul, unraveling in front of the justice system that's finally catching up to decades of silence, secrets, and whispered scandals. And unlike past courtroom blow-ups, this one came tied to a family legacy that's now in flames. People started asking, was this breakdown years in the making? Had Christian seen too much? Been told to keep too many secrets? Or worse, had he been part of things he never wanted to be involved in? Suddenly, this wasn't just a legal case, it was a generational crisis, caught live in a courtroom with no script and no escape. Behind every courtroom scandal, there's a storm of whispers. And when it comes to the Combs family, the rumors have never really stopped. Christian Combs has always lived under the glossy glow of celebrity, but even that light casts shadows. Over the past few years, internet sleuths, former insiders, and even ex-industry affiliates have hinted at disturbing patterns surrounding Diddy's inner circle. Parties that went too far, allegiances built on silence, young protégés, like Christian, thrown into the mix without a choice. There have been murmurs about Christian being present during events that, on the surface, looked like just another VIP night. But behind the scenes may have included behavior far beyond the legal or moral line. Some even speculate that the video shown in court might have confirmed what many feared, that Christian wasn't just a bystander in Diddy's world, he was a participant, willing or not, and that changes everything. Online forums exploded after the incident. Some fans expressed heartbreak, others outrage, but most asked the same haunting question: what exactly was on that tape? And how deep does the rabbit hole go? Because if the rumors are true, Christian's courtroom meltdown wasn't just about protecting his father. It was about protecting himself from a past he never wanted revealed. The moment clips of Christian's courtroom breakdown leaked online, the internet went into overdrive. Within hours, hashtags like #Christian Combs, #Diddy trial, and #what was on the tape were trending across social media. TikTok was flooded with reaction videos, conspiracy threads, and lip readers analyzing Christian's every word. Twitter turned into a courtroom of its own, some defending him as a traumatized son, others demanding accountability for what the footage may have revealed. Even mainstream media couldn't keep up. Networks scrambled to get legal experts on air. Talk shows debated whether Christian should face charges for contempt or be seen as a victim, finally cracking under pressure. Then came the celebrities. A few posted cryptic messages. Truth always comes out. Or protect the children. Others stayed quiet, fueling speculation that more people in the industry knew exactly what that courtroom video exposed, and were terrified it might come out publicly. But perhaps the most powerful reactions weren't from stars or influencers. They came from ordinary people, many of them survivors, who saw Christian's breakdown not as a tantrum, but as a trauma response. A moment of truth bursting through a lifetime of denial, and the question began spreading like wildfire. If this is how the son reacted, what has the father really done? Emotional or not, courtroom rules are unforgiving, and Christian Combs didn't just break them, he shattered them. Within minutes of the outburst, the judge issued a temporary contempt charge. Court officers submitted official incident reports, and prosecutors began discussing whether Christian's actions constituted an intentional disruption of federal proceedings, a serious offense that can carry fines, probation, or even jail time. And that's just the surface. Legal analysts now warn that his outburst could compromise Diddy's entire defense strategy. Jurors saw more than a son in distress. They saw someone react violently to a piece of evidence. Evidence that, ironically, the prosecution had tried to seal for weeks. Christian's breakdown may have just confirmed its impact and its authenticity. Worse yet, the footage itself is now being reviewed for additional crimes. If what was shown on that screen includes anything illegal, especially involving Christian or other individuals under the age of consent at the time, it opens the door for entirely new charges, not just for Diddy, but potentially for his associates, or anyone who knew and stayed silent. The courtroom may have returned to order. But legally, this just blew the case wide open. What we're witnessing isn't just the unraveling of a celebrity family, it's the collapse of an illusion. For decades, Diddy was more than an artist. He was a brand, a mogul, a symbol of power, luxury, and control in an industry built on image. But now, behind that diamond-encrusted curtain, the truth is crawling out, and it's messy. Christian's courtroom explosion forced people to ask uncomfortable questions. How many others have been hurt by the machine? How many children grow up in these dynasties with secrets they're not allowed to speak? How deep do the scars go when silence is the family business? This case, this video, this moment, it's more than just tabloid drama. It's a reflection of what happens when fame protects darkness, when money buys silence, when trauma becomes a footnote to a legacy. And while Christian Combs may face legal consequences, many believe what he did was involuntary, a reaction to years of emotional pressure and buried pain. In a world obsessed with celebrity, this trial is a brutal reminder. Behind every carefully filtered photo lies a story no one dares to post. One moment of raw emotion, one video that cracked the mask, and one courtroom that saw the perfect celebrity image collapse in real time. Christian Combs didn't just lash out, he exposed a fracture that's been hidden behind designer suits and platinum records for years. Whether you see him as a victim, a participant, or something in between, one thing's clear: the truth doesn't stay buried forever. And maybe that's what scared everyone in that room the most. Because if the sun breaks, how long before the father follows? We still don't know exactly what was on that tape, but if the reaction is any clue, what's coming next could be bigger than anything the industry has seen in decades. So now it's your turn. Was this a meltdown, or a warning, a cry for help, or a sign that something darker is finally unraveling? Let us know what you think in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe, because this story, it's far from over.